Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode with me, Xana K. This is Grizzly True Crime. Thank you so much for being here with me. PT Notaman, already spoiling Fury. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. If you've never heard of the Idaho case before, I would highly recommend checking out my playlist because we've done a deep dive on this case. We followed it every day with every update possible until such time as, they arrested him and the big events. Lately, there's been a bit of a buzz, few things happening, but some of it's been like rumor, not solid sources that I can gather, but this now is documents, okay? And so the Idaho courts here, they've got a whole bunch of documents that I'll show you. Look at them. Oh my word. So this is not what's dropped now. You can see the date here. These are the ones that have just dropped, which helps to verify the things that are being said on social media, which is that the Idaho murder suspect has been indicted by the grand jury. So, if you know nothing about this case, on November 13th, 2022, 4 University of Idaho students were murdered in their off-campus college home. They were stabbed. It was very scary. Quadruple homicide with 2 surviving roommates in the house, a dog in the house as well. This case is one of those we will probably never forget, right? It's shocking. And then, before the turn of the new year, we were like, oh my word, like who did it? What? They're free, they're walking around. Then they arrested this guy, Bryan Kohberger. So we've done lots of coverage on this case, so do check it out if you missed that. I'm just giving you a quick recap in case you missed it. I'm sure there'll be recaps in this as well as I read through this. Then we're going to look at the documents, okay? All right, so Emily's like, we love documents. Yes, we like to verify the information. It's sometimes difficult when all this breaking news comes out. It's happened a lot in this case, especially because it's been this long process from when he was arrested in December to the point at which there was now supposed to be a hearing. It was going to be in June, then it was moved to May, and there was the whole thing with the surviving roommate, that whether they're going to be on Zoom or whether they're going to have to be there in person and all of that. And now they pretty much, okay, disclaimer, I am not, if you didn't know, and if you can't tell, I am not an attorney, okay, no, not a lawyer, not an expert in this. I'm just literally like you, even though there's lots of professionals here in the chat. Thank you for being here. But what I'm gathering is this means they're not going to have that preliminary hearing. A grand jury has indicted him. So the next, they're like, we've got enough to go to trial, okay? So that's what's happening there. Jinxie says, hey, chat, tag you're it. Let's flood G with treats. Tag you're it. Thank you so much, Jinxie. I really appreciate it. Yes, Michelle says, wow, 6 months ago already. I mean, it's been quite a lot. We literally, Paula says, your map time on Kohberger was the best. Thank you, Paula. We drove it on Google Maps. Mr. Grizzly, my husband, he flew it for us. So if you missed that, go check it out. He flew the whole route that Kohberger drove. The suspect. Yes, so they believe he drove based on the probable cause affidavit. We flew the route, we drove the route, the whole thing. We had boots on the ground there as well, so that was great too. So let's look at this so that it's like layman's terms, okay? Then we'll look at the documents. So they say Idaho murder suspect is indicted by grand jury. Instead of facing a preliminary hearing, the PhD student accused of killing 4 University of Idaho students will be arraigned on murder charges next week. So we're going to look at those documents that show that, okay? They say the man accused of fatally stabbing 4 University of Idaho students, I'll zoom in for you. There we go. How about that? Last year has been indicted by a grand jury and will be arraigned on murder charges next week, a court spokesman said Wednesday. Now, this was brewing for a bit. People are saying this could happen. Now it seems to have happened, yes. The suspect, Bryan Kohberger, a former graduate student in criminology. That's what makes it so scary. Like this guy, it's like something out of a movie. Like, sorry, what? He was a criminal justice, like PhD student. And he just recently moved there from Pennsylvania. And he's the suspect that was arrested and has been charged with the murders of all the 4 University of Idaho victims. If you missed that, check it all out, okay? The suspect, Bryan Kohberger, a former graduate student in criminology at a nearby university, was arrested in the case in December, but has yet to enter a plea. Defense lawyers had moved to hold an extended preliminary hearing scheduled for next month that would have explored much of the evidence collected by investigators. So that would have been a week-long preliminary hearing. Welcome to membership, Beth C. And now that's not happening. Okay. So they say, but the grand jury indictment eliminates that process. The authorities have yet to describe a motive or lay out many details of the killings in which the 4 victims were stabbed to death in the pre-dawn hours one Sunday in November in a house not far from campus. They have not detailed any prior connections between Mr. Kohberger, well, there's rumors, okay, about him Instagram messaging them, and all sorts of things like that, right? So we just don't know it concretely yet, but there seems to have been maybe a social media connection, or maybe you saw them at the restaurant where they work, things like that. We've explored all those options, right? We even explored the accomplice option and all that, so go check it out. At the time, people thought I was quite crazy with my Kopaka theory, but now, yeah, see, there's a lot more on board with that theory. So anyway, moving on. Welcome. Caroline says, school slogan, criminology, train for a career in crime. So they have not detailed any prior connections between Mr. Kohberger and the victims. Madison Mogen, 21. Oh my word. When I see their age, I'm always like, whoa, 21. They were so young. Whole lives ahead of them. Kaylee Goncalves, 21. Xana Kernodle, 20. And Ethan Chapin, 20. Mr. Kohberger, originally from Pennsylvania, had been a PhD student studying criminology at Washington State University in Pullman, just across the state border from the Idaho campus. Investigators have said that they linked him to the scene with DNA found on a knife sheath in the home, apparently matching that sample to his father after testing trash at the family's home. Mr. Kohberger drove a white Hyundai Elantra that appeared to match a vehicle seen on surveillance footage near the home, investigators have said. An affidavit filed by the police. We've gone over that affidavit, you guys. You know, like the Letitia Stark trial? We went over it many times. Same here. That probable cause affidavit, wow, we've been, if you know, if you've been here a while, we went through it a lot. My word, there's so many details in there, you know, compared to the average affidavit. There's actually a lot more than we expected, right? We've gone over the search warrants and all that stuff as well. So, yes, okay, an affidavit filed by the police said that Mr. Kohberger's phone was detected moving around the region in the hours before and after the killings, but that it was disconnected from the cell networks, perhaps turned off for about 2 hours around the time of the killings. The case has upended life in the community of Moscow, Idaho, which had not recorded a murder in 7 years. Residents of the town spent weeks in uncertainty as investigators struggled to find a suspect. In recent days, at graduation ceremonies, the University of Idaho honored the 4 victims with posthumous degrees. I don't know if you guys saw that news as well. I've been following. If you follow me on Twitter, check it out because I often retweet this type of stuff. But they were honored with posthumous degrees or certificates. Yes. Mr. Kohberger has said through a public defender that he expects to be exonerated, which we will always say that's a bit of an odd statement because you have to be convicted first to then be exonerated. So it's not like I'm innocent. I expect to be found innocent. He's like, I am eager to be exonerated. Like, oh dear. Okay. Is that his ego talking, or does he know something we don't know? I don't know. Yeah, Wicked Mano says, I have a hard time contemplating he did this alone. Oh, the timeline, the timing and everything. I know, right? Okay. So former friends and his own online postings have detailed Mr. Kohberger's troubled past, including emotional problems and heroin use that he struggled with in his teenage years. He had appeared to turn his life around after getting clean and focusing on his studies, they reported. And he had said that he hoped to one day provide counseling for high-profile criminals. I think I skipped a sentence there where they say, Mr. Kohberger said, okay, he's eager to be exonerated, and Nate Popino, a court spokesman, said that Mr. Kohberger would be arraigned on the new indictment at a hearing scheduled for Monday morning. So there is going to be a hearing on Monday morning where he's going to be indicted on these murder charges. Welcome, everyone. Thank you so much for being here. If you haven't yet, please hit the like button. It doesn't mean you like the topic necessarily. It's a very grim topic. It's murder, right? It's that this helps the YouTube know, okay, yes, we want more people to see this and to hear this news. So if you could do that and share as well. Hashtag Idaho 4 is still being used, Bryan Kohberger, and you can also say Grizzly True Crime. But after arriving at Washington State University last year, he appeared to run into new trouble. Now, that was quite interesting as well. The university counseled him over a verbal altercation he had with a professor and investigated his conduct with women around the time of his killings. He was ultimately fired from his job as a teaching assistant in December, shortly before his arrest. So it was after the murders, but yes, still, he'd been I don't really love this word, but they said he'd been mansplaining things, talking down to women, quite aggressive to the female students, things like that. Levi Matthias, thank you so much for your £5 super sticker. I really appreciate that. So, yes, the university said they counseled him. Eventually, they even, there was this news about a week ago or so of them releasing a trespass warning. After he was arrested, he was no longer allowed back on campus, obviously. He was ultimately fired from his job as a teaching assistant in December, shortly before his arrest at his parents' home in Pennsylvania. Okay, so that's it for that. So we've got all the layman's terms, right? We know what's happening. We've got many varieties here in case we didn't. So I think we should look at the documents now. Here again, Idaho college student suspected killer Bryan Kohberger indicted by a grand jury. Okay, we're going to look at those documents now. I'm just going to quickly say a prelim hearing in the case, just so everyone's clear, against Bryan Kohberger, 28 years old, was originally scheduled for next month following his arrest in December on 4 counts of first-degree murder and burglary for allegedly breaking into a Moscow, Idaho home with the intent to commit a felony. But the prosecutor's decision to impanel a grand jury, which was not anticipated, allows the state to avoid the week-long preliminary hearing that would have required it to present evidence before a judge. So they're basically saying, yeah, no, we've got enough evidence. We could just take this to a grand jury, is what I'm understanding. I did also watch, the lawyer who is an actual lawyer. So if you want the legalese to be broken down for you, I think the lawyer is a good one. He's been on this show a few times, so go and check out his take on it as well. It's always interesting. All right, so now let me do this. Let's get those documents going. Please note that this content is for adults only. Viewer discretion advised. If you haven't yet, hit the subscribe, like, and share. All right, that was the OG intro. If you know, you know. Yes, if you've been here a while, right? Okay, so let's bring these documents up here. So we're going to go. This one is 6 pages. I'm going to start with this indictment because it's only 3 pages. Okay, just let me zoom out a little bit there. L. Jane Clifton Roselle, thank you so much for your $3.99 super sticker. Rebecca, you and me both. I was there too. Yes. And Morgan LaFay says district attorney calls for a grand jury in the U.S. Yes. Okay. So they say here in the district court of okay, let's not read all of that. There's the case number, State of Idaho plaintiff versus Bryan C. Kohberger, date of birth 11/21/1994. A lot of people speculated about when he committed the murders, which was November 13th, not the 21st. But anyway, it was pretty close to his birthday, which is quite weird. Bryan C. Kohberger is accused by the grand jury of Latah County by this indictment of the crimes of burglary, Idaho Code, there's the number, felony count 1. Murder in the first degree. You could see 4 of those. Count 2, 3, 4, and 5. Okay. Yes, Lorraine, you are an OG. You, Stefan, Tracy, Kathleen, and I'm sure there's lots in here as well. Just ones I'm seeing now. Total OGs. You're from the beginning days. Remember, it's nice to have the intro here and there. Okay, so count 1, burglary. That the defendant, Bryan C. Kohberger, on or about November 13, 2022, in Latah County, state of Idaho, did unlawfully enter a residence located at 1122 King Road, Moscow, with the intent to commit the felony of murder. Count 2, murder in the first degree. So 2, 3, 4, and 5 will be the same, except the names change, of course. That the defendant, Bryan C. Kohberger, on or about November 13, 2022, in Latah County, state of Idaho, did willfully, unlawfully, deliberately, with premeditation, and with malice aforethought, kill and murder Madison Mogen, a human being, by stabbing Madison Mogen, from which she died. Welcome, Sam Jane Jones. So these are all the same, count 2, 3, 4, and 5, except that it's for Kaylee, Xana, and Ethan. So that's what he's being indicted on, or by, the grand jury. All of which is contrary to the form, force, and effect of the statutes in such case made and provided, and against the peace and dignity of the state of Idaho, a true bill presented in open court the 16th day of May. So a lot was happening yesterday behind the scenes, clearly. Presiding grand juror, Latah County, state of Idaho. So, yes. Linda says, wearing my OG shirt today too. That's awesome. Okay. So this is probably the most important document. Everybody's been waiting for this today. Again, if you follow me on Twitter, my handle is @TrueCrimeGizzler. I do have some impersonators on there, so just be careful with that. And I do tend to like to change my profile picture. Then I lose my little blue check mark. Okay, so just @TrueCrimeGizzler is mine. All my official links are on my website, grizzlytruecrime.com. Okay. So there it is. One more time. Grand jury case, okay? Indictment. Bryan C. Kohberger, accused by the grand jury of Latah County by this indictment of the crimes. Burglary, murder in the first degree, count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that's that. And then here, this was the one just before that was released where they said, State of Idaho, plaintiff versus Bryan C. Kohberger. This matter is before the court on the Associated Press. There's been a whole back and forth with the media, the gag order, and all that. Okay, on November 13th, 2022, 4 University of Idaho students were found deceased in their home in Moscow, Idaho. The tragedy garnered widespread publicity and worldwide attention. While authorities were investigating the incident, media outlets transcended upon the vandal community, and the internet and television were abuzz with stories and immense speculation. Approximately 45 days later, on December 30th, 2022, the landscape of the matter changed. Bryan Kohberger was arrested and charged by criminal complaint with 4 counts of murder in the first degree and 1 count of burglary. The community, internet, and television were still abuzz with stories and speculation, but the spotlight shifted to a single person, the accused. Upon Mr. Kohberger's arrest, the fundamental constitutional rights of the accused, the state of Idaho, and the victims were invoked, and the judicial process was set in motion. On January 3rd, 2023, the parties to this criminal action, the state of Idaho and Mr. Kohberger, filed a stipulation for non-dissemination order recognizing the court's constitutional duty and authority to safeguard those fundamental rights and to ensure that's a hard word to say, efficacious administration of justice and a fair trial under the Idaho and United States Constitution. After considering the parties' stipulation and weighing the right to a fair trial for all parties involved and the right to free expression as afforded under both the United States and Idaho Constitution, the court entered a non-dissemination order on January 3rd, 2023, to curtail the dissemination of pre-trial publicity in the case as necessary, and they authorized this under law. On January 18th, 2023, an amended non-dissemination order was entered. Hope you're enjoying document time, because we got, yeah. Karen's like, this is written like a novel. It's the size of a novel too. Black Widow says, I wish the Grizzly shop did patches. I do want to say I do have a digital download for you now on the logo, so you can download that and just make anything with it. That's the idea there. All right, so we continue on. We've looked at this one. We're looking at this one now. We still got this one, this one, this one, and this one. We've got a few documents to go through here. If you think I'm reading too fast, okay, just use the little setting switch and just slow it down for yourself. I try my best to just slow it down as much as I can, okay? So, they say, oh, sorry, I'm trying to find my on February 6, 2023, a coalition of media companies, Associated Press, filed a petition for writ of mandamus, or a writ of prohibition in the Idaho Supreme Court, challenging the constitutionality of the non-dissemination order and seeking an extraordinary writ to protect the media's ability to cover the case. Both the state of Idaho and Mr. Kohberger intervened in the case to oppose the petition and argued in support of maintaining the non-dissemination order to which they stipulated. So he's piped up here and there. You know, we thought he would. We thought he might even pull a Ted Bundy and defend himself. But he's got a whole fleet of death penalty qualified attorneys as his defense attorneys. Okay, so after reviewing the record, the Idaho Supreme Court issued an opinion dismissing the Associated Press's petition for writ of mandamus or writ of prohibition on April 24th, 2023. Then, on May 1st, 2023, the Associated Press filed a motion. So it's a whole timeline, you guys. I think you get the gist. I'm not going to read through this whole thing. It's a whole battle between the media trying to lift the gag order, Kohberger and his attorney saying no, and all of that. So they just, you know, the media wants to be able to speak to the families, to interview people, and all of that. So let's look at the order. For the reasons set forth above, it is hereby ordered that the Associated Press's motion to reconsider the order dated May the 4th, 2023 is denied. The scheduling conference will remain set for May 22nd, 2023 at 10 a.m. PST via Zoom. It's further ordered that the Associated Press's request to stay enforcement of the amended non-dissemination order pending a decision on the motion to vacate the amended non-dissemination order is denied. So there's that. Okay. And that's it for there. Okay, now we've looked at the indictment. If you missed it, go back. There it is. Okay, this is what we're looking at. Now we've got this one, which is only one page. We love that. Beach Gal says, so far cameras are allowed, but it will be on delay. That's what I'm wondering as well, if they will or not. It's kind of like the West trial we've been looking at. I'm just waiting to see when they're going to actually release the full closing arguments. The jury's deliberating right now. If you don't know what I'm talking about, go check out my stream from yesterday or 2 days ago. Yes. So here they say, State of Idaho versus Bryan C. Kohberger. Notice is given that the above entitled case is set for hearing type. See, this is what's changed now. Now it's not a preliminary hearing. It's an arraignment hearing at the district court on Monday, the 22nd of May. So that's like this Monday coming, 9 a.m. The judge says, John Judge, at the Latah County Courthouse. All right. And that's pretty much, that's that. That's what we got there. That's it. One page. This one, order. Let's see what this is. Yeah. Order governing courthouse and courtroom conduct. Do we really want to read through that? And Lorraine's like, we'll take what we can get. Right? Whether it's late or not. What is it? I'm not T-Pain says, honestly, I would love for the gag order to go away so we don't have to wait until court to learn more. Right? Brandy says, are there trolls in here? That's new. No, unfortunately, well, the more you grow, the more trolls there are. Anyway, the mods, thank you so much, mods, for everything you do. They do an outstanding job, helping. Yeah, the troll got hammered, says Kerry. Sorry about that. And also, thank you so much to all my patrons, all my members, everyone who sent PayPals and coffees and all. You guys encourage me a lot. These cases are never easy. They're hard, okay? And yeah, a lot of time goes into this. I really appreciate all the support. Anita says, I wonder if the judge is the female judge who we saw in his first appearance. Not sure. Interesting. Okay. So I just want to see how many pages. This one is 3 pages and that's 2. So let's first do these and then we can go back to that. So State of Idaho plaintiff versus Bryan Christopher Kohberger. Motion to seal is the grand jury witnesses. Comes now, the State of Idaho by and through the Latah County prosecuting attorney and respectfully moves this court pursuant to Idaho criminal rules for an order sealing the names of all the witnesses examined before the grand jury herein. In support, the state respectfully represents to the court that it has received numerous complaints from potential or prospective witnesses or their families and associates regarding being harassed, both in person and via social media. It happens, right? Kathleen R., thank you so much. You say court conduct describes cameras in a room. We're going to go over that. We're going to look at it. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Oh, thank you, Mr. Meaner. And David says, thank you for all you do for us, G. It's my pleasure. Okay, so in support, the state respectfully... Oh, wait, we were here. But I'm not surprised. Sometimes YouTubers, man, they cross the line. They're like knocking on doors. They're going there, harassing people. It's not nice. In support, the state respectfully represents to the court that it has received numerous complaints from potential or prospective witnesses or their families and associates regarding being harassed, both in person and via social media. The reports of harassment have included threats, as well as what appears to be intimidation. Given this and the broad publicity surrounding these proceedings, the state respectfully submits that releasing the names of the witnesses who appeared before the grand jury would invite additional harassment, intimidation, and possible threats, and undermine not only the integrity of the case, but the parties' prospective rights to a fair trial with an impartial jury. Wherefore, the state respectfully prays that the court order that the names of all witnesses examined before the grand jury be sealed. The state has communicated with counsel for the defendant and has been advised that they have no objection, with the understanding that the state in defense will be provided with an unredacted copy of the witness list. This was signed today. 17th of May, 2023. Really like this. This is such a cool signature. I know that's a bit of a side note, but yes. Isn't it nice? Okay. Sorry, Sumisu, that you gotta go. Come back, come back. The replay crew. Let's look at this one quickly, where they say State of Idaho plaintiff versus Bryan Christopher Kohberger. The above matter. This is order sealing. Still just the same. The order sealing the grand jury witnesses. The above matter having come before the court pursuant to the state's motion, the court, having reviewed the same, being fully advised in the premises and good cause appearing, is hereby ordered that the names of all witnesses examined before the grand jury herein be sealed. So there you go. That's from today. All right. And now we can go to this, which is 5 pages. L. Jane, Clifton Roselle says, it's always nice to be in the group chat with the Grizzlies going over the same frames. We're all watching together. It's nice, right? I love being here with you guys too. Bob is like, don't go. It's from the Letitia Stark trial, yes. All right, so State of Idaho versus Bryan C. Kohberger, order governing courthouse and courtroom conduct. This order governs courthouse and courtroom conduct and media activities in this case. This order shall supersede any prior order governing courthouse and courtroom conduct. The court is mindful of the need to balance, 1, the constitutional right of the defendant to a fair hearing, 2, the public's right to information in conjunction with the constitutional and statutory rights of the media to attend the proceedings, 3, the court's interest in maintaining order and an environment that permits all participants to focus on their responsibilities without undue distractions, and 4, the court's interest in the safety of the public and court personnel and the need to follow all Idaho Supreme Court orders as may be changed or amended from time to time. With these factors in mind, pursuant to Idaho Court Administrative Rules, it's hereby ordered. Courtroom seating and attendance. Seating for the victims' families, counsel, defendant's family, and court personnel. Certain seating may be reserved for counsel, authorized court personnel, the defendant's family, and the victims' families. Wow. Yeah, couples. Judge is the judge. Yes. I'm not T-Pain says, I really hope we don't have to wait years for this to go to trial. I am impatient and want justice now. Me too. I'm hoping, because, these things take time. Everyone's like, is it now? Is it now? Is it now? But it could be like 2 years from now. I don't know. Okay, so then pooled media seating. The representatives of the media serving as the pooled camera staff shall be seated in an area approved by the court, as designated by the admin district judge, presiding judge, trial court administrator, or bailiff, subject to a limit of 2 media members operating the pooled audio and video recording of the hearing, and 1 media member handling the pooled still photography. Okay, hope the cameras work great. General public and additional media seating. The public and members of the media not designated as pooled camera staff may be permitted in the courtroom as space permits on a first-come basis. No person may reserve seats. No standing in the courtroom will be allowed. Seating in front of the bar. No person other than court personnel designated by the court, the defendant, and counsel and their assistant shall be permitted to sit in front of the bar of the courtroom without specific authorization of the court. Entry and exit during court proceedings. Spectators, including members of the media and the public, shall be seated before the court is in session during any portion of a hearing. No entry or re-entry to the courtroom shall be permitted while the court is in session. Okay, nobody can leave for bathroom breaks. General restrictions and requirements. Security screening. All persons entering the courtroom are subject to security screening. No food, beverage, firearms, or other weapons are permitted in the courthouse. All handbags, backpacks, purses are prohibited in the courtroom. Any personal property items are subject to inspection. So if anyone's in the chat here and you're going, you're going to know exactly what you can take and can't take and what you can do and can't do after this. And if you are there, please send me an email, grizzlytruecrime@gmail.com. It's always nice to hear from someone who's there, Janet Murphy says, seating chart, like a wedding. Oh, unfortunately, yeah, I wish this rather was a wedding, right? This is terrible. Cell phones are permitted but must be turned off and shall not be used for recording or the transmission of sounds or images. Violation of this rule may result in confiscation of the phone. Other electronic devices, computers, laptops, and other similar devices are permitted for note-taking, but shall not be used to record or transmit sound or images in or from the courtroom. Cameras and microphones on electronic devices must be disabled. Violation of this rule may result in confiscation of the device. Disruptive behavior. Any activity or behavior which is considered disruptive by the court will result in removal from the courtroom. Any spectator who creates a visual or auditory disturbance of the court proceedings may be removed from the courtroom and or the building at any time at the discretion of court security personnel. Media coverage, camera or still photography. If the court allows cameras, if the court allows cameras in the courtroom and orders that the media coverage be pulled, then all media shall have access to and share the video, audio, and still photographs received from the permitted cameras. Members of the media shall designate and agree on the operator of each camera permitted pursuant to courtroom media requirements. Allowed media representatives and their equipment will be located in an area of the courtroom designated by the administrative district judge, presiding judge, trial court administrator, or bailiff. The number and placement of pooled cameras being used to audio or video record the proceedings is subject to the approval of the court. 2 audio or video recording devices and 1 still camera are permitted inside the courtroom. Any additional still camera shall have a silent shutter. No flash photography is allowed. No live broadcasting, transmitting, or streaming from the courtroom is allowed. No movement around the courtroom will be allowed during court proceedings. Camera and audio equipment shall not be set up nor disassembled at any time while court's in session. Okay. Cherry's like, where the heck am I supposed to keep my purse? Yeah, I don't know, man. And your snacks. Portion of proceedings which may be televised. Photography, video, and audio is not permitted during a recess in the court proceedings. Recess means any time the judge is not at the bench or is not on the record. No electronic device shall record the audio and or video of any bench conference sidebar between the court and counsel, nor any conferences between an attorney and client or conferences amongst counsel. No live broadcasting, transmitting, or streaming from the courtroom is allowed. Restrictions on video and photographs. No video or still photography shall be taken of any papers, documents, or notes which may be located on or around counsel tables or used by counsel. No video or still photography shall be taken of the victims' families or the defendant's family without their express permission. Good to know as well. Interviews, reporting, and vehicle parking. News conferences, interviews, or reporting is prohibited inside the courtroom or courthouse common areas. News conferences, interviews, or reporting in the courthouse parking lot or on courthouse grounds is allowed as set forth in the Latah County parking and media access map. So I'm pretty sure that's going to be happening from outside afterwards, right? Any news conferences, interviews, or reporting from the courthouse grounds shall be done in a manner to not impede foot traffic, obstruct access to the courthouse, or interfere with the daily operations of Latah County. Media vehicle parking is allowed as set forth in the map. In addition, any interviews, media reporting, or media parking shall be subject to any additional orders by the administrative district judge or the presiding judge. Media inquiries. Media inquiries and communications regarding these matters shall be directed to Nate Pepino, Court Communications Manager for the Idaho Supreme Court, or by phone, or Latah County District Court. Okay. All other provisions of Idaho Court admin rules apply, and any authorization under this order may be revoked at any time without prior notice. Security. Courthouse area security. Security officers may quiet or disperse members of the public or the media so as to not hinder other members of the public and court staff from having access to the building, the clerk of the court's office, and any other courtrooms or offices in the building. Disruptive behavior. They say again, any activity or behavior which is considered disruptive by the court will result in removal. Any spectator who creates a visual or auditory disturbance of the court proceedings may be removed from the courtroom and or the building at any time at the discretion of court security personnel. Violations of this order may subject the violator to a charge of contempt. The clerk of the court shall post this order at conspicuous locations within the courthouse and provide copies to all interested parties. So this was also signed yesterday. Oh, they got a map time for us. Map time, everyone. No media staging. Very nice, in red. Latah County Courthouse. No employee or media parking. Okay. Media parking and satellite trucks. Media parking, no large trucks. So there you go. Got some media map time going on here. So we've basically looked at all of those documents. There were some others as well if you do want to look at them. But if you missed it and you're only joining now, the main one for today is this big change in the case where they say State of Idaho plaintiff versus Bryan C. Kohberger indictment. He's just been indicted by a grand jury, which means there's going to not be any more prelim hearing that was supposed to last a week. He's going to have an indictment hearing instead on Monday. And the charges, Bryan C. Kohberger is accused by the grand jury of Latah County by this indictment of the crimes of burglary, murder in the first degree, and that's repeated 4 times for 2, 3, 4, and 5. Okay, so that's the main one there. Then, damn, there's a lot of things, huh? That's a lot of things. Yes, okay. So, stand by. I just want to quickly see. Let's just minimize and see if there's more here. I'll quickly just go over this one in case anyone missed the beginning. So if you've been here the whole stream, don't worry, it'll be quick. Bryan Kohberger indicted by grand jury to appear in court on Monday. The suspect in the murder of 4 University of Idaho students has been indicted by an Idaho grand jury. A preliminary hearing has been cancelled. A grand jury in Idaho has indicted the man accused of murdering 4 University of Idaho students, because maybe someone's like, what does it mean? Okay. So I'm just going to go over that quick. Eliminating the need for a preliminary hearing, which means that they believe, from what I understand, that they have enough evidence to take this to trial without that preliminary hearing, right? The Latah County District Court clerk confirms that Bryan Kohberger will now appear in court on Monday, May 22nd at 9 a.m., where he will likely enter a plea. So last time I streamed about this case, I was like, that's the point at which we're at, because I'm very visual. And someone made us like a really cool infographic thing. And they did this whole table of what's next. The next would be his, what plea is he entering? Guilty or not guilty? So there they say he will likely enter a plea. So that a plea. So that is what's next. The Latah County District Court clerk said the grand jury indicted Kohberger on all charges. With the grand jury indictment, the preliminary hearing previously scheduled for June 26th has been cancelled. The indictment means the grand jury believes there's enough evidence for the case to proceed to trial. Don't we love it when media articles explain it to us just like that? We look at the documents. We looked at articles and then the documents. Okay, then we're back to the articles just so we have a full experience of what does this all mean. So we're all on the same page. Idaho law requires the prosecution to prove that there is enough evidence, either through a grand jury or a preliminary hearing. We expect to get more information from the courts later Wednesday. Well, we got it today. We did already. Kohberger is accused of stabbing and killing Ethan Chapin, Kaylee Goncalves, Xana Kernodle, and Madison Mogen in the early morning hours of November 13th, 2022. He was arrested at his family's home in Pennysylvania on December 30th, 2022, and is currently awaiting trial in the Latah County Jail. Eating only vegan food, apparently. I think he's eating beans. Anyway, police say DNA from a knife sheath left at the crime scene where 4 University of Idaho students were murdered ties suspect Bryan Kohberger to the crimes. So we got that. Nicole Hernandez from KREM2 said, just got off the phone with Latah County District Clerk's office. A grand jury indicted Bryan Kohberger on all counts. All caps for that one. Yes, his arraignment is Monday at 9 a.m. where he will likely enter a plea. This means there will no longer be a preliminary hearing in June. They say this is a breaking news story. Been watching this brew on Twitter all day. So yes, if you follow me on Twitter, that is the place where you're going to get news the quickest, because man, Twitter is a busy spot. I was watching the Lawyer Who Knows episode from earlier, and he said just that. He's like, oh, if you guys are on Twitter, just find me there because that's where it's all happening. I'm like, exactly. That's where it's happening. Yes, okay. Oh man, that one. I haven't even read that one. Okay, wait. Let's see if I can find that. That is sickening. And they say more than 2 dozen, right? Come on now. Hurry up, Google. Oh yeah, this is just taking over the news. This love letter thing, I was like, what? And then there's these other documents people were freaking out about. All of this. The state's response. Should we look at one? Wait, Bryan Kohberger love letters. I just want to find that as well. Thank you for reminding me of that. Truth shall set us free. So this one, sorry, I can zoom a little more. This was a big thing. Like 2 days ago, everyone was like, what? So they say the state incorporates its January 23rd, 2023 state's response to request for discovery, February 21st, 2023. So this was all buzzing people like, do they not have it? They say, in regard to the specific requests for standard lab discovery, the state has already provided the defense with everything it has received from the FBI lab. The state has also provided the defense with approximately 30 reports from the Idaho State Police Lab. The state has provided the Idaho State Police Lab with a copy of the defense's standard lab discovery comprised of paragraphs 1 through 10 and will supplement discovery as appropriate. The state specifically objects to the request for personnel-related information as outside the scope of ICR 16, unless and to the extent that lab personnel will be offering expert testimony, which is discoverable under that, right? In regard to the defense's request for genetic genealogy testing and search, the state objects and intends to separately file a motion in limine and motion for protective order under ICR 16.1. As will be more fully detailed in said motion, the state believes that the defendant's requested discovery is outside the scope of ICR 16 in that it does not tend to negate the guilt of the accused as to the offense charged or tend to reduce punishment for the offenses as contemplated by ICR 16A. It is not relevant. It is not material to the preparation of the defense. It is not intended for use by the state's evidence at trial, and none of the documentation being sought belongs to the defendant as contemplated by those codes. Genetic genealogy research does not constitute reports of examination or tests under ICR, and any genetic genealogy research is exempt from the disclosure under ICR. So they didn't want to give them that, which then people are like, why? Why do they do that? I don't know. Okay, I just want to see, is it this one as well? Which one did we just look at? Yeah, look at this. Here they say, comes now the state of Idaho by and through the Latah County prosecuting attorney and submits the following response to the motion to compel discovery filed by the defendant on May 4th, 2023. Now, this is a lot. I just want to show you how much they have. By way of background, as of the date of this response, the state has provided the following to the defendant. Approximately 10,000 pages of reports and other written materials. We'll never get through that. FOIA request, are we ever going to get that? And will we ever get through it? Approximately 10,200 photographs. That sounds like a lot more than... Remember initially on the search warrants, we're like, how many do they have? We're like 400 photographs or something. I remember something like that. Well, this is what they've provided to the defendant. 10,000 pages of reports and other written materials. 10,200 photographs. Approximately 9,200 tips. And approximately 51 terabytes of audio, video, media, and digital materials. Damn. Charisma, thank you so much for your Canadian dollar super sticker. I really appreciate it. Always try to see exactly where it's from. That's Canada, right? Maple syrup land. That's loads, right? Yes, you guys are like, wow, that's loads. I know, right? 10,000. Glad you guys are responding like that. You could see, I was just like, wait, what? They have so much. Stefan, we can do it, right? Can you calculate like Dr. Dorothy Lewis did? Can you do that calculation? How long will that take us? That's a big document time. So 10,000 pages of reports and written materials, 10,200 photographs, 9,200 tips, and approximately 51 terabytes of audio, video, media, and digital materials. The defendant cites to ICR in support of its motion. However, that rule only refers to the procedure for responding to discovery requests and apply to requests for discovery orders. Might as well read the rest of this. Hold on. Then we're going to look at the love letters. So hang in there. They say the state has disclosed all items it is aware of relating to the search and arrest of Bryan Kohberger in Pennsylvania. The state is unaware of any body cam and dash cam footage beyond what has been disclosed. And on information and belief, understands there is no body cam footage. Recordings of interviews and the defendant's transportation from the scene of arrest has also been provided. Numerous lab reports regarding forensic evidence collection and analysis of items recovered from the defendant's parents' home, trash cans, and other receptacles, and the defendant's vehicle have been disclosed to the defendant. These reports include items from the FBI lab in Quantico, Virginia, as well as the Idaho State Police Lab. The defendant's attorneys and investigators have also been given direct access to view and inspect items seized from his parents' residence, including his vehicle. The state will continue to disclose additional reports it receives that are subject to discovery under ICR 16 and applicable case law. To the extent that the defense believes that certain reports may contain exculpatory information, the state asks that the defense specify what exculpatory information they are referring to and the basis for their belief so as to enable the state to make any appropriate additional inquiries. Angela McDermott says, wow, everyone has testified already? Brilliant move by the prosecutors, right? Jane says, thank you, G, for the certificate of surviving the Letitia Stark trial. But you get it too for staying and listening to Dr. Lewis speak for about 10 hours before she answered any questions. For having the best eye rolls. If you guys don't know what Jane's talking about, if you are a member, check the community tab. I put a little certificate there for you. And on Patreon, it's there as well in its full size, and you can download it as well. Some have already printed it out and shown me how they put it in the office. Yes. Okay, so here they say, regarding the defendant's request, label 2A, in addition to the above response, the state has inquired of the defense for clarification on ISP lab reports by number, since there is a question about some duplicate numbering of the initial lab reports. ISP lab reports are separately numbered by forensic biology, DNA prints, and forensic field services. The state has already been able to advise defense counsel that there is an ISP lab report 25 which has been discovered, and there is another ISP lab report 11 which is pending review and approval at the lab. To assist the parties, the state has initiated specific inquiries about the status of all ISP lab reports and will make discovery to defense as appropriate. 3. The state has provided recordings of MPD Detective Payne's interview with Mr. Kohberger to the defense. Oh, the day we get to see that. Can't wait. Oh, okay. So Max Banks says, if you are not American, just to let you know, grand jury is nearly always secretive or kept protected. Oh, thank you so much. And KS also says all grand juries are secret. Oh, thank you for saying that, you guys, so that, yeah, it's not sus or shady or anything like that. Ellison says, putting my certificate on LinkedIn. Oh, my word. Okay, to carry on there. As with item 1 above, the state has provided the defense with reports, audio, video, and other recordings relating to the defendant's arrest and incarceration in Pennsylvania that have been received by the state. The state has provided a copy of the report or memo referred to as request number 161 to the defendant. The state is unaware of any notes, recordings, or photographs. 6. The state respectfully submits that training records of specific officers are outside the scope of ICR 16 unless and to the extent that the officers will be offering expert testimony, which is discoverable under ICR 16b10. The state is willing to reconsider its position upon a proffer by the defendant as to each officer under ICR 16b, showing substantial need in the preparation of the defendant's case for additional material or information not otherwise covered by this rule, and that the defendant is unable without undue hardship to obtain the substantial equivalent by other means. If there are any lawyers in the chat, please feel free to share all your wisdom, all your insight and knowledge as we go along through this. I'm really just reading you all the latest documents in this Idaho case because a lot have come out recently, especially today. We went through those. So if you missed it, please check out the replay. And if you are a replay watcher, thank you so much for watching. Caroline says ISP is probably the Idaho State Police. I think so, yes. What are we reading? Okay. In the event of, okay, so let's just go here. In the event of such a showing, the state asks that the court enter such protective orders as may be necessary and appropriate to protect the confidentiality of the personnel records and any other sensitive information. As the state has indicted, I've got indicted on the mind. As the state has indicated in its responses to prior discovery requests from the defense, the state has and will continue to provide discovery in accordance with ICR 16 and applicable law. So this was from the 12th of May. So these documents obviously came out just before everything that came out yesterday and today. I'm just reading it to you so that you have it as well. All these nice signatures. Okay, so that's that. All right. Okay, Papa Bear says, Angela, not necessarily everyone, just those with testimony to have the jury decide as such. Papa Bear, thank you so much for always sharing your wisdom with us as well. Really appreciate it. Okay. So, Barbara says, I missed the beginning, so I'll watch the replay. I'm busy cooking. What's for lunch or dinner? What are we having? Now, let me quickly find this Kohberger friggin'. Where's this love letter one? Why doesn't it come up? They're just so busy with this indictment. But he's been receiving love letters, you guys. I can't stand it. Whenever a case reaches that, I'm like, why? Bryan Kohberger receives love letters. I looked at it this morning, man. Now where is it? Buried somewhere. Oh no, there it is. I found it. Revealed. Idaho murder suspect Bryan Kohberger receives handwritten love letters adorned with hearts and stars every week from admirers who are convinced he's innocent ahead of the quadruple murder trial. Well, he is innocent until proven guilty in a court of law, but there's obviously a reason, well, one would hope, that they have arrested him and charged him and that all this is happening, right? When I saw his traffic stop video, I'm like, it's hard to imagine that he did this. He looks like a very well-behaved boy. But then again, we know how charming people like that can be. Meaning, think even about, not that I want to put him at all in the same category, because that would just possibly, based on what we know about him, be his dream come true. But, Ted Bundy was also very charming, very polite, gentleman, right? Oh, no, Stefan, maybe it is. Bet Dr. Dorothy Lewis sent a love letter too. Oh, man. So they say Bryan Kohberger, the man accused of killing 4 near the University of Idaho campus, has received more than 2 dozen. I wonder if that means how many? How many exactly? More than 2 dozen handwritten love letters as he awaits trial for the brutal killings. The accused killer, who's being held without bond at the Latah County Jail, has a horde of female fans. Smitten. That's called hybristophilia, you guys, and it is a disorder, and they do need help. If you are suffering from this, yeah, you're going to need to contact a professional to help you out with that. And raise those standards. Okay, so the accused killer, who's being held without bond, has a horde of female fans, smitten by the 29-year-old criminology grad student turned suspected murderer who is awaiting a preliminary hearing trial. Now that's not happening. The trial, now we know. That's not happening, Daily Mail. They need to update the article. No. He's been indicted now by a grand jury. An employee at the jail who did not reveal their name, but has frequent contact with the inmate, told the messenger, it's disturbing. Again, isn't there a gag order or what? Who are all these sources? Caroline, not yet, because Dr. Lewis has not seen him yet. Okay, he gets these letters a couple of times a week. They're usually handwritten with hearts and stars colored envelopes, he said. Everyone in the jail talks about how weird it is. Well, unfortunately, it happens in every case. Let's see if it happens with freaking Lori and Letitia. If they get fan mail, whoa. Imagine it. Did you guys see their mugshots? Oh, I've got it there on my community tab. Someone said, did I see Bryan Kohberger's new mugshot? No? Have you sent it to me? I haven't seen that. I've only got the most recent one from whenever that was, a while ago. Lead with love. Thank you for becoming a member. S. Reed says, that's true. At least they're sending love letters on the assumption of his innocence rather than sending and still believe he did this horrible crime. That's true. But then if it turns out that he actually did this crime, yeah, he's going to get probably even more fan letters. So it's unclear what these letters exactly say, but it appears that many are confessing their love to Kohberger and believe he's innocent in the brutal slayings, a source told the news outlet. It also remains unclear if Kohberger is responding to these letters. I would guess no, but you just never know, right? Look at him here. He does look very sweet here. He's like a good little boy. But yeah, he's also got other looks. Mandy says, I still think there's more to this case, G. I won't disagree with you there. So the house is all boarded up, right? And that's what we have. Okay, the rest is just going over the facts again. So yes, I will make sure I link all this. If you want the documents in PDF format, I put about 6 of them. The first 6 we read through on Patreon, if you want. That's normally where I put documents and things like that. That mugshot where he's sitting, he has a swollen right forearm. You mean like the original one? Let's quickly look here. Bryan Kohberger. When I say look here, I'm looking at this other screen. We're looking at Twitter. Because I don't see any other pictures. Oh, no. Yeah, it's just this document being shared like crazy. I don't see any new ones. Just lots of documents. That's it. If you got it, send it to me, though. Send it to me, okay? Yeah. Air says they should post the fangirls' names online. They actually did post one a while back. Do you guys remember? They posted one a while back online. Yeah, that lady was not well. Not well. Joseph said, do we know the status of the King Road house? I just know it's boarded up. I don't think it's been demolished yet. Also, I wanted to quickly show you this. Yeah. University of Idaho honors slain students at graduation ceremonies. Oh, man. Sad. Moscow, Idaho. As the University of Idaho class of 2023 sat in its caps and gowns Saturday morning, the community took a moment to recognize those who weren't there. Oz rang out through the crowd as the 4 students who were killed at an off-campus home last fall were posthumously recognized. Maddie Mae Mogen's parents walked across the stage to accept her marketing degree. The hundreds of people crowded into the Kibi Dome erupted in a standing ovation. This is her day that she worked so hard for. And Maddie Maddie was exceptional. If you've ever seen her LinkedIn profile and everything she's done, we've gone over that before, so check it out, okay? Is Jules in here? You say, Jules, True Crime Reactions. I see you in here. Roll with it. Hello, Jules. Sorry, I missed your message there. But hello to you. Hello to any content creators that are in here. So they say, this is her day that she worked so hard for, said Ben Mogen, Maddie's father. We're all just so proud of what she did with her life. Maddie Mogen, Kaylee Goncalves, Xana Kernodle, and Ethan Chapin were found dead at the woman's off-campus home in November. After a months-long investigation, a Washington State University graduate student was charged with their murders. The graduation ceremony marks another milestone of grief for their families and community. This is a moment for us to acknowledge the contributions they've made and celebrate their academic achievement with their family, said Tori Lawrence, provost and executive vice president at the university. Kernodle's family chose to accept her marketing certificate in a private ceremony. Chapin's family will also receive a certificate in his honor. Goncalves' siblings tearfully accepted her general studies degree during the Saturday afternoon commencement ceremony. As they stood on stage, an extended round of applause filled the dome. As Karen and Scott Laramie, Maddie Mogen's mother and stepfather, crossed the stage, they wore pink, Maddie's favorite color. The emotion of the moment was clear on their faces. It was emotional, of course, Ben Mogen said. It was a really special moment. Mogen thanked the University of Idaho and the Moscow community for their support and consideration during graduation weekend. It was so sweet, Mogen said. Just the whole way that the university has handled everything has been so special to my whole family and the other families too. Wow. Shame. Oh, that must have been horrendous. So sad. Yes. Okay. Let's see. We're almost done. Tiff Knox says streaming G live while cruising down the highway in a motorhome. Nice. Yeah. AP said we were all saying hoodie guy, yada yada, etc. And we had no idea the things they had at the time. Just think all they could have now. I know, right? We're all very busy with that food truck video. I mean, yeah, there was a lot. There were some interesting conversations had along the way. Karen Booker says she earned it, justice for Maddie. So, oh man. And Jeanette says, that ad heard, yeah. The ad heard us talk about birthing hips. Probably. According, what? What is going on here? These adverts, what? Yes. Nice birthing hips. If you don't know what I'm talking about, whoa, you need to catch up on the playlist. That was one of Kohberger's statements to someone he went on a date with, allegedly. A lady that shared on TikTok. We've shared her videos here as well. And there was a weird interaction. And then he said, you have nice birthing hips. Okay, then. So, quickly. Papa Bear says firing squad won't impact the BK case as it was passed by a legislator after he was charged. Thank you, Papa Bear. Really appreciate it. My Miracle Mama says, GR closing arguments for the West trial being released. They've only released a less than 5-minute clip so far. So there's little highlights in there. And they've released 2 articles. So I'm just waiting a little bit just to see, are they going to release just a little bit more? Just to see, can we have more of an update, though? I wasn't able to listen to the whole closing arguments myself. Okay, so if you guys missed yesterday's episode, I had a private investigator on our show talking about the Ellen Greenberg case. It is a case where a 27-year-old teacher was stabbed 20 times. So I've already said trigger warning earlier, right? 10 times in the back of her head and neck and 10 times on her body, including in her chest, right? And the police are like, that's a suicide. But it just can't be. It just can't be. So it's one of those like really botched cases that would probably make you pretty angry, but it really needs our love and attention and proactive community energy. So if you didn't see it yesterday, please check that out. Then tomorrow, I'm going to have Gavin Fish on. If you guys don't know who Gavin Fish is, were you around in the Gabby Petito days? That's when I started my channel the end of June of 2021. And then in September, I started covering the Gabby Petito case and like, whoa, no one knew that case would be that viral and that hectic. But that's where all the map time and the driving around everything as a community started, right? Anyway, so the point is Gavin Fish was around in those days making really great timelines and sharing documents and things. And in the Ellen Greenberg case, he has worked so hard in that case. He's got so many documents that like it's Mount Everest worth of documents, okay? And he's very close to the family as well. So he's going to be joining us tomorrow to discuss. I've got we've got a special guest. Hold on one second. Well, he's going to be joining us tomorrow to discuss the case as well. So this stream should lead you to that one. Don't go. Don't go. You know why? I've got such a special guest here right now. Hi, Sunny.
Hi.
Yeah, you made it.
I did. Oh, let me
I love your glasses. They look so nice.
Oh, thank you. Look, I can barely see. Hi, everyone. I'm sorry. I had to like go from one thing to another and put on stuff. Okay, so where are you guys at? I know you were all the way in it because you've been on.
I was in it. We looked at all the documents.
Oh, so you did?
Mainly this one. New documents have just dropped now today. So looking at this grand jury indictment, and everybody, of course, wants to know, what does it mean? Now, you have a lot of litigation experience. If you don't know who Sunny Slaughter is, number one, check out Sunny's channel, Twitter page, all the social media. Sunny's been on this channel many times. Okay, yes, so
my favorite. Hi, Grizzly.
Favorite.
Woo-hoo, woo-hoo. Yes. I love my family here. Okay, so I haven't seen this document. Hey there.
It's okay. We can go over it again. So guys, 2.0. We can clip this for later. PD, thank you so much. Sunny and G, perfect day. Thank
you. Okay. So wow. Okay.
Let's put us like this.
First.
Yes.
Okay. So he got a burglary. This is the indictment.
Yes. Okay. Indictment. Burglary, murder in the first degree, count 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5.
Okay.
So he's now been indicted by a grand jury, and this hearing will be an arraignment hearing on Monday instead of it being a preliminary hearing starting.
Right.
Yes, so that's what we have there. And then we also had this notice of hearing, Arraignment District Court, the 22nd of May at 9 a.m.
Oh, okay. I got to put that on my calendar. Oh, I'm glad that you were shared where you could get all the documents from, because I'm glad that they put that out.
Yes, it's really nice. A whole collection of them.
Yeah. That's a whole document dump there, which was good. Hey,
Yes.
everybody. Woohoo! How y'all doing?
They're all very excited to see you.
I know. I love y'all. Mwah, mwah. Oh, you like this color? Look, you should have saw me trying to throw on something. Oh, okay. So where were you guys talking? Oh,
We were wrapping up, but I'm so glad you just made. I was like literally just about to be like, okay, bye guys. So I'm so glad you made it.
I'm so sorry.
Oh,
Yeah,
no.
I was doing so. Tell me what did you guys talk about? You kind of explained all of the stuff. It seems like, which is good. So you all know that. Okay, my glasses are dirty. So you all know that this case is going to be very interesting, to say the least.
Yes.
And now that there is an indictment, of course, the prelim is not necessary anymore because, and with the indictment, the prosecution does not have to give access to all of their witnesses, and which would have happened. Remember, they had 5 days for the schedule, and that's because there are so many witnesses, and they would probably have wanted to ask law enforcement a lot of questions and others on the case, and the grand jury stops all of that from happening.
Yes. So here they did say, where was this one? There was an order to sealing grand jury witnesses.
Yeah.
So that one
they don't know who testified then.
They don't know.
And grand juries are secret anyway. And the interesting thing, I wonder how long this grand jury was seated for. Most often, hey, there's my friend Peter. Love you. How you and the wifey? Love y'all. I love you. Wait, I have Peter's book. Hold on.
Harlem Raiders.
Yes, I have the Harlem Raiders, so you all need to get that book. Peter sent me a copy.
Hey, me too. We're gonna make them so jealous. Go get Harlem Raiders, you guys.
Yes, you guys got to get Harlem Raiders. So now thank you, Anita. Now they don't have to share the information. And I was wondering, and I don't know if you talked about this, about, a lot of times some people don't know about the full grand jury process. So a grand jury can be seated for usually for an extensive period of time, but they don't hear just one case. Often they hear multiple cases. Yes.
Okay. Oh yeah. No, tell us. We don't know. Assume we know nothing and tell us.
My chair is sliding down. So oftentimes, like where I am, so a grand jury can be seated sometimes for 6 months. Like in Atlanta, there's a grand jury that has been seated for sometimes 6 months, or sometimes longer, depending. And then they will hear a plethora of cases, not just always one. Or you can get them to hear just one case, but they usually hear more than one case.
Okay. And that's very interesting.
So it's the same folks, and then they come back in and they hear the evidence, and they So grand jurors are unique. They are very silent. They are quiet for a reason. Yeah, but they don't always have to, they'll on a case and then they'll come in for the days needed for, that particular case that they're looking at. But they're often seated for an extensive period of time.
So how long, indicted by a grand jury, how long have they already seen?
I don't know. I don't know how many cases that they've heard. I don't know if this was a special grand jury just for this particular case, or if this is a grand jury that was hearing several cases. So it can work more than one way. Now, I would assume, and do not hold me to this. Okay, so Max said he sat on a grand jury for 66 days, 6 months. D said 6 months. So you see, people here have served on grand juries, and they're not often one and done. They sit and they hear different cases.
Okay.
So how are they selected? More, very quietly, discreetly. So you would go through the same process. So y'all do recall that I recently, well, for those that follow, so I was recently on, I had my first jury
Yes.
duty in my entire life, right? Oh my gosh, y'all should have seen. I got kind of excited. I got the whole summons in the mail, and I had to fill it all out, but then I had to cancel because I had some work to do. But when I went here, there were, the week prior, they had 1,400 individuals. Okay.
Wow.
For jury duty. When I went, there were several hundred of us in the room, right? Mind you, this is my first jury. I'll be 55 in July, right?
Okay.
And so they were calling us, we had to check in, and then they called us. I got called for the very first thing. Like I was in the first crowd. Wow. I was like, oh my gosh. And I was in the first selection of jurors. It was not a criminal case. There were only 18 selected, and I was jury number 18. I said I was probably going to write a book called Juror Number 18.
Yes.
Because this has kind of filled out my criminal justice process, having to be called. And while I was in there, of course, I walked in the door feeling like I was in there to work. I knew I was going to serve on a jury potentially, but I was in there really looking at the process. So that's kind of the same thing with the other grand jurors. You get called like a regular jury, and then you are selected to serve on a grand jury. Is that how it went for everyone else? Because it works differently across the country. You all chime in.
Yes.
Oh, look at Peter talk about so young, child. I am.
Yes.
Okay, so Dorothy says she's been summoned for a regular jury. Oh, were you selected? Oh, and then Margaret served for 3 months. Oh my gosh. Oh, CH was juror number 1. So now we don't know whether this was, now there can be a special grand jury too. And a special grand jury would be called for a case, a very particular case. So now we don't know. Y'all know I don't like all the speculation. So all we know is that a grand jury indicted. Now, this is a very high profile case, and it has a lot of information. And yesterday I got, Long Crime Network reached out to me to do an interview. I'm thinking I'm going live, but even though this was a new person, so I put my thing, I was going live, and no, it was just an interview. Yeah, it was just me for an hour.
It's been so nice seeing you on Court TV and Law and Crime Network.
So I only did that one Court TV. Everybody thinks that was a big deal. Y'all don't think I'm a big deal on the Law and Crime Network?
You are. Even a bigger deal here.
Oh, I know. Like, so you all know on my resume, I have the Grizzly True Crime and this show literally on my resume and on my website too. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. No, this is a big deal. The Grizzlies are a big deal for me, just so you all know. Oh, who else testified? Oh, that was regular. That was for regular jury, drugs smuggled into prison. Get out of here. Oh, now I have to go on NL. Okay, you guys call them and tell them to get me on the show. But let's get back to the real deal. So yesterday, when Sierra reached out to me, it was to talk about the upcoming, what would have been the upcoming preliminary hearing, and to go over some details of, the process and the case. So that's kind of what I talked about yesterday. And then this broke that the grand jury has now been in place. And, oh, thank you. I love you. So now the only thing that changes is there's no preliminary hearing.
Yeah.
And based on, so yesterday is when I found out from Sierra that there is approximately 10,000 documents and the pictures and all of those things. So, it does sound like it's a lot. But remember, we have 4 victims. And if it wasn't a lot, that would be a problem for me. Because that would mean that law enforcement did not do their due diligence. and did not really, investigate well. We
Yes.
want a lot of information, but we also want really good information. So 10,000 pages of reports and 10,200 photographs and 9,200 tips. That's a lot of tips now.
Yes, that's
And
a lot of tips now.
51 terabytes. So one of the things that I said yesterday that I want you all to think about is, yes, this is a lot of information. So now that the grand jury has indicted, one of my concerns is, and what I'm thinking is, it was indicated previously that the defense team did not receive information, correct?
Yes.
That's what they kept indicating. We don't know. But if that is true, as someone who has worked as a subject matter expert and an expert, on cases, what has to happen is, and this could cause a delay, depending on when they set the trial, what has to happen is the defense team has to have enough time to gather their expert witnesses. So they will want someone like me, like a law enforcement expert, right?
Yes.
Because the law enforcement expert, part of what I do is I go through, they would send me, we'd sign our agreements, and then they would send me all of their information. And it would be a lot, right?
Yeah.
And they might have more than one. It would make sense to have more than one, and then kind of break it up because it's going to be a lot. They might have one per individual victim, as that's how the information is categorized. But the expert has to go through every single detail, right? So literally, I would, if they sent me a binder, and this is like one of my notebooks that's not even really filled, but if I had to go through this binder and just think that it was thicker than this, I would have to read everything, every page, every word, right? So I would do a first read on it just to get the information. And then I would go through step by step, break it out, and then do my homework on everything. So I would be looking at, and I have looked at subpoenas, I have looked at search warrants, I have looked at statements, written statements, testimony, and then you have to go through all of the videos. And then you have to go through all of the recordings. So I have had to listen to the 911 recordings. Now, I did a case, and I promise you, they had so many recordings. I was like, you've got to be kidding me. But you have to get really quiet, and like you can't be disturbed, because you can't work as an expert on a case and then stop. So you have to set aside the time. I would not be on the phone, no television. I wouldn't answer any calls, and I have to dedicate that time because all of those are billable hours, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it is illegal to bill for stuff when you're actually not working the case. So whoever's the expert on this, it is time consuming. And when you're looking at a search warrant in particular, the other thing that you have to do is actually know the law. So I have my criminal books, I have my Black Law Dictionary, but whatever state it is, I then need to go find whatever state. I need to go online and then get access to the laws in that particular state. So I would have to know the Idaho laws, the statutes, the codes, what the police department looked. I would go to the website for the police department. This is all as the defense. Yes. Okay. I would have to do all of that. Doesn't the defense have to show whatever evidence they claim? Well, what they would have to do is they would be kind of narrowing down what their question is about the evidence. They don't necessarily have to share with the prosecution. Now, the prosecution has to share all of their stuff, but they do have to share the information about their experts qualification, They have to share the expert witness report. So the prosecution has to share all of the stuff that they have. The defense doesn't necessarily have to tell them what they're looking at for the case.
Yes. The defense has said something about having exculpatory evidence, right? So is that what they'd have to now show or not?
Well, the judge would say, what exculpatory evidence do you have that they are refuting? And according to what they're saying is that it has to do something with body cam and dash cam. I think those are the two things that they indicated.
Yes, yes.
So in order for them to get what they're saying that they don't have, they'd have to tell them what exactly they're looking for. But the prosecution has already answered and says, notice the language in what the prosecution said. Procedures, right? They would have to say, exactly what are you looking? That's right, chime in, Peter, because you already know what this looks like. Exactly what are you looking for? What is it that you say that they don't have? The prosecution was very specific in their language. To our knowledge, to the best of our knowledge, I think that's sort of the language that they use. We don't know of anything that has not been shared with you. So they're essentially saying in a court filing that they don't know what they're talking about. And they would have to ask.
Yes.
Oh, question, Peter. The lawyer mentioned a tactic of data dumps on either side. Is this a delaying tactic? Well, could be. Yeah, could be.
Interesting.
The data the amount of data is going, that's going to take a long time, because you literally, one of the cases that I worked, it was a 911 call, and you think that they're all clear, but they're not necessarily clear. So I had to keep rewinding and rewinding and rewinding to try to because there was background noise.
Oh, yes.
And so, trying. And also the other thing about an expert witness. So I have my own company, right? And I can't, even though I have a lot of law enforcement friends, right? Like I might try to reach out to Peter to ask him, right? Or somebody else in law enforcement. But I can't do that and share the information with them until I get permission from the client. So I would actually have to get Peter's information, pull it together, and say, this is somebody that I need to add to my team. Because otherwise, it is illegal for me to share any information with anyone at all. So when I was here and I was doing a lot of work, my son lived with me, but I had to close my door so I could work. And then you also have to keep everything sealed. So I have a fireproof file cabinet here at my house. I keep everything on a separate hard drive that is also in the cloud with a code on it. And hopefully, you have to really take a lot of measures. The defense team were trying to call the flatmate to give evidence.
Yes. What happens with this now? That was with BF.
Well, BF is likely still going to be called to testify. Now, when it comes to the other two roommates, they need to have attorneys. They need to get legal representation. They will likely be called, because if I was the defense, I would subpoena them.
Okay.
Now, mind you, I'm talking about, this is all defense stuff that I'm talking about. I'm not saying I'm on Bryan's side. I'm just trying to give you the side that people often know the least amount about. And that's what the defense can ask a lot of things. They can say a lot of things. They have to be clear. What will be the implications? Oh, the likelihood of him entering a guilty plea is, I believe, almost zero.
Right.
Yeah, I do not believe that So he will go and he will plead not guilty. Now, even if he was guilty, his counsel would advise him to plead not guilty.
Yes. Okay, so I would assume that as well about him. I think BF, yes, has already. Oh, she has already met with defense lawyers. I know she's already got her own attorney as well. Regina says she's already met with defense lawyers. Okay.
She may have already met with them, but they're still likely going to call her as a witness.
Okay.
In their case.
Interesting. I heard there's a lot of this in the case, which Morgan, I appreciate the information. There's a lot of, have you seen in the case where it's like, I heard this and a source said that. And there could be three meetings on a Monday. I did see that somewhere with the court schedule. It's a full day on Monday for them.
And in a case, as long as you have counsel and your counsel advises you to meet, then, then meeting would be up to the individual. They're not meeting with Bryan and so the other witness would not be meeting with Bryan and his attorneys. Okay. They would just be meeting with legal counsel.
Yes.
You understand what
Yeah.
So they wouldn't go, because he's locked up.
Yeah.
So they would not be meeting with him or seeing him in person. They would be meeting with legal professionals, with their counsel. And no one should meet with anyone else's lawyers without having an attorney.
Okay. Question.
It's just not good practice.
This is such a wonderful message. Tony says, I'm learning so much by watching two of my favorite female role models. G and Sunny make a dangerous Grizzly combination. Thank you both for teaching us so much.
Thank you.
Question, what is your buy me a coffee? Because then these Grizzlies love to buy coffees. We need it. Okay. So what's your buy me a coffee?
Wait, I don't know what.
I think it's on your Twitter, right?
It's on my Twitter and it's on my YouTube channel.
I'll put it in the description box afterwards, you guys. I just want to see.
Oh, thank you. I love you guys. Yeah. Thank you, G. And what else can I? Oh, let me say the other thing that I talked about yesterday. You see somebody else? Oh, wait.
Yeah, I'm trying to find it again. It went past. Sorry, I missed it. And said, Miss Sunny, can defense do a pre-trial deposition of the witnesses?
They could have, but to find out what the witnesses, they could have not done it officially as a deposition. They could have just met with them. But I believe they can do the depositions, but that is it's a whole process.
Okay.
Because I'm trying to think, did I ever do? Well, yeah. So essentially, what it seems like, based on the questions, do you all think, and this is me asking a question, do you all think that the surviving witnesses would be testifying to Bryan's benefit?
I wonder. I don't know. Yeah, what do you guys think? Hello, Disc Golf Bear.
Because the deposition, now anybody could do a deposition. It can be a hostile one, or it can be, and the same thing for them. But taking the deposition, if they're meeting with them, it wouldn't have to be officially a deposition, though. They could have just had a meeting. But okay. I guess they could.
Coffee link here quickly. Buy Sunny a coffee. It's buymeacoffee.com/Sunny Slaughter.
Oh, the bird. Yeah. And so see, Daniel makes, thanks guys. Daniel makes a good point about the Fifth Amendment is the right not to self-incriminate. So the burden is the burden is always on the prosecution. And
do they set the trial date on Monday?
So that, yes, they should be setting a trial date on Monday unless the judge pushes it back. I really don't see a reason why the judge would, but the judge should set a trial date on Monday. Now, mind you, Bryan waived his right to a speedy trial for the prelim.
Yes.
Remember doing that? during that session, there was that was waived because it should have happened within 14 days.
Yes.
But it never in this type of case, it does not, expedience is what we want as the public, but it does not make sense to go fast.
Yeah. So I wonder, when do you think it will be? Because sometimes these things take 2 years, 3 years.
I'm thinking it's going to happen. Well, wait, what? So May, June, July, August, September, October. Before the end of the year? Yeah, I'm thinking.
Wow.
I think, I hope.
I
now,
hope so.
That would be quick, but I hope.
Yes. Let's
see. Who else has some good stuff? I mean, you all know all of the good stuff. Come on. Oh, is there still a gag order on the 2 survivors? I don't know, because I didn't look at all of the documents.
I think the gag order is still in place from what I understood. But then again, I'm not a lawyer.
Wait, Sarah Sunshine, not your husband talking too much. Where's that, honey? Honey, we're going to need you not to be talking, and while Sarah Sunshine is trying to find. Listen, okay, did that get them straight?
This is an interesting one. Death penalty implications with guilty versus not guilty plea.
Doesn't matter.
Okay.
I didn't know. I didn't get a chance to look at the docs. Did they? Yeah, I was thinking late 2023 or early 2024 too.
Yes.
Yeah, I think it's going to take because if they're saying they still have the information, it's going to take. It has taken me sometimes a month to get a report done.
Okay.
And that is working a lot. Does it say that they're asking for the death penalty? Did it say that?
Oh, no, we haven't seen that in writing yet. He's got 3 death penalty qualified attorneys. So I think that's why it is a death penalty state. And they're talking about maybe the firing squad and all that kind of stuff. So maybe it could go that way, but I don't know.
No.
This is just gag order related from what I understand.
The Associated Press.
Yes. Daniel says gag order is in place until the hearing or until trial, whichever actually happens. Yes.
Oh, okay. See, you guys are up on it more than I am, because I literally did not read all. I was trying to, but I was doing something before.
Oh no, we just appreciate you being here. You have so much knowledge, so much insight.
I have like a real job.
You are very busy.
I'm trying to have if you were the prosecution, yes, I would. Hey, Stefan, I would. I would seek the death penalty, and it is not because I necessarily support the death penalty, but I think if a case warranted it, it would be this one. Does that make sense? That I am not necessarily a proponent for the death penalty, but if I was the prosecutor, I think this is a case that would warrant the death penalty. I know that probably sounds tacky and straddling the fence, but operating as the prosecutor, yes.
Yes.
Just like I would have in the Lori Vallow case.
Yes. Which I think now in Arizona, I think she's facing the death penalty there.
Yes, I think so.
Wow. That case. Wow. Did you see Dr. Dorothy Lewis imitate a patient in Letitia Staff's trial saying, "Don't go." Don't go.
What? So the doctor, are you talking about the little
doctor?
Lady?
Yeah, the little lady. Oh man, the troublemaker.
You mean the little lady that was doing the psyche eval or whatever on her?
Yes.
Yeah, I was concerned about her as the expert witness. Hi, Miss Melissa. Yeah, I was concerned. I don't know why they selected her. I didn't think she was. And as an expert, you don't want to criticize somebody else, because being on the stand, just like being on television, can be difficult. Okay, it's not as easy as it looks. And And sometimes you can get tripped up on your words or things, but oh, that lady, I was like, I don't know. She should not be working right about now. She should not
needs to retire.
Yeah, she needs to be all the way retired. Yes. And yes, I believe if the families wanted the death penalty, as the prosecutor, I would. This is a case that I believe would warrant the death penalty. But I am not necessarily personally a proponent.
And do they all have to agree?
Yes.
And if they all don't agree, if all of them don't want it, does that mean then he doesn't face the death penalty?
Well, not necessarily. It is. So it becomes an individual and a collective conversation, but the prosecutors would really have to, if they went against the wishes of one of the family members, it would really have to be a very long conversation about it and why they have decided to go this route. But the family does have the option to get up and to during their victims' witness statements, their victims' impact statements, and kind of say that to the judge.
Yes.
Do you think he intended to kill all 4 students?
Oh, I put up the wrong one. Sorry, Adam, you asked a different question. You said we can ask the other one right after this. Do you think he intended?
If he is the murderer, and I'm always trying to use good language, because accused is not convicted. I don't know what he
intended to kill.
I don't know what he. I don't know what he could have possibly been thinking when he entered the home and murdered the first person and then kept going. I'm sorry, you guys. It is
it's a lot.
When you send your children off to college, right? You want them to have an experience, a really good experience. And for the rest of our lives, this will be something that we remember, right? So as a parent of one of the 4 who some of them have other children that will, go off to college and grandchildren. I can't imagine what that feels like knowing that this happened, right? So when a person commits this type of crime and it's so brutal, and then there's so many victims, and I don't know if there's a rationale behind their actions, like what set them off and what allowed them to move about a house and just murder and murder and murder. I think that becomes the question that what kind of person was he and is he, and how do these people live among us?
Yes.
I know. I mean, it's just hard to my son just finished college, and it's just like, I don't know. Hi,
Mindy. I've not seen her before. Mindy, now you see Sunny. Go check out the other episodes as well, where Sunny's been with us discussing
I'm sorry I got all choked up. I was taking the garbage out earlier, and I was on the phone talking about something other than murder, and I was walking outside thinking, how is it that my days are filled with murder?
Right. Well, we think the same.
Days and nights are filled with murder.
Yes.
When the news calls me and it's a mass murder, and the producer says, Sonny, we love having you on. This was another Scripps News. Sonny, we love having you on, but we hate that we only call you for these kind of things. I said, I hate it too. I'm just like the cool kid or anything like that. Like, I'm not the cool person at the party, because the only thing I can talk about, what do you do? Oh, Lord, talk about murder all the time.
Unless you're at a Grizzly party with us.
I know, and I love you guys. Yes, it's unimaginable. I just, to kill one person and four.
Yes.
Oh, thank
for this
you.
beautiful Sunny surprise, right? It was such a surprise. I was like, I don't know if Sunny's gonna make it today. I didn't even say that he might.
I had to put on a sweater because I didn't want to be too sexy on the show talking about murder. But I love you guys, and G, I just, we have our chats, back and forth, you and I. But I love being on with you. Thank you for all of the ways in which you cover these crimes. It is. You were on that Letitia Staunch stuff. Oh my gosh. You day and day.
Every day. Trial. We call it trial babalas. In South Africa, babalas means hangover. So it's like having a trial hangover because it's so many hours. Day.
Yeah, but you did great in covering it.
Thank you.
So hopefully, I don't know whether you're going to do Bryan's, but
if we can see it, sure. If we can only hear it, sure. I would love to.
That's the other thing. I was hoping that somebody asked me that we are going to be able to have cameras in this courtroom. I know there's a lot that, people, it's a lot of information, but I do hope that we get to see this live and that, allows people to, the criminal justice system needs to be seen. Yes. And particularly in these high profile cases. Exactly. Let me see what else.
Papa Bear said we want and need people who are in the justice system to have hearts as well as brains, as Sunny does.
Oh, thank you, Papa Bear. Yes. And I do my best. I don't always get it right, and then I try not to get emotional. And oh my gosh, sometimes it's really hard not to say a lot of cuss words. Y'all know I say cuss words, right?
You got to join a member stream sometime. I have members on these streams, and then we just vent. We go snarky full out. We vent. We cuss a little.
So I do that kind of behind the scenes when I'm on the show. I'm like, oh.
Said, one day you got to join a member stream.
And then I do this, and I'm like, okay. But some of these cases. But this, this case is the first case that I did for the Long Crime Network. It was my first one on the air the first week of January, the first week of this year. And then I've been going nonstop. So, but this case is kind of personal. It's really important that you all are covering it, and thank you for getting all of those documents. There was something else that I was going to say. Okay, we talked about the evidence. There was something else I was going to say.
Sorry, Janet. Sorry to hear that, Janet.
Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry, Janet. We're hugging you.
Yes,
I'm so very sorry. Oh my gosh. There was something else I was going to say. We talked about, the other thing is the training records. I talked about that kind of yesterday. There was something. So when the defense is looking and the prosecution, we kind of touched on this before about Brady and Giglio.
Yes,
we touched on that portion. But this is about the actual training records of law enforcement. And the defense will want to look at that information to ensure that everyone was properly trained and that they had all of the processes and procedures down. That's really important. Those are things that, and then the defense will also want to make sure that everything was in order when it comes to law enforcement as well, because the defense can call anyone. And don't forget, this is multiple jurisdictions as well. So they may ask what the folks from Pennsylvania, I do suspect that they will be called, the team in Pennsylvania, because they actually did some of the surveillance and executed the search warrant, and they made the arrests there. So remember, there are 2 arrests, two multiple search warrants and everything. and different jurisdictions, and they don't have the same processes and laws. So do you think the Kohberger's trial will be a very I don't know if it's going to be any trickier due to his narcissism and criminology background. I believe, and I don't. So let me say this about the defense. I always want to believe that the prosecution and the defense have integrity. Okay, that they have ethical integrity, and that they will do due diligence for their clients. That is the defendant and the state. That they will all represent them well. That they will uphold the highest standards of ethical behavior, and that they will not do anything not only to jeopardize the defendant's fairness to a trial and the state's fairness to the trial. So although people represent the defendant, I do not think they are less than or any more professional than the prosecution team. Okay. Their attorneys, they do the job that they've been hired to do or selected to do. And I always try to believe that they operate ethically. Just the same way I believe for law enforcement. I know a lot of people have problems with law enforcement. So you will always have bad apples in every profession. But I always want to believe that people are operating with integrity until I find out otherwise. I don't think there are any tricks. But I do think the defense strategy will be this. Thank you for that question. I believe if I was the defense team, part of the defense team, I would focus on making sure the evidence that the law enforcement has gathered is correct, that they have followed a particular process. I would try to knock out the gathering of evidence and information. So I would focus on getting experts who could refute anything that they have on that side. Law enforcement experts, technology experts, anyone of that caliber. The strategy would be to not say that he wasn't nearby, but to say that he didn't have time to commit all 4 murders. Yes. Because that's a lot of murders. And that I would say, based on the time that he was there, that he did not have enough time to commit those murders, that there is no trail that was left. Because for a bloody crime scene, where are the footprints that would have been from the person that committed the murder to them leaving the scene, going all the way out to where the car was? I would be looking for that kind of evidence. Yes. I would be looking for looking at all of the camera footage from houses, from stores, or everything in the area. A lot of times people don't realize how much information is out there, but it really is a lot. If you think about how you go home, unless you're in a rural area, and even that today is a little different because people have cameras at their homes. If you go from your home to say work or to the grocery store, are you passing banks? Are you passing stores? Are you passing libraries, government buildings? All of those tend to have some kind of cameras that you can see. Most of the time people forget when you're passing a bank, there are ATM machines that can catch you. There are stores at corner convenience stores, grocery stores, malls, cameras on the lights and stuff. All of that has the potential to gather evidence in addition to the digital footprint. So that would be part of my strategy, to not say that he wasn't there, but to say that his any evidence that they collected that he was there is because he has been there before. He was visiting someone. Remember, there was a party. Yes. Right. So see, will the defense bring up the 150 people? Yes. So I would bring into play all of those. Of course he was there. Yes. He was there. He knew somebody else there. Yes. The crime scene security and safeguarding. Yes. Yes. So all of those things and The one thing about the towers, and Peter and anybody else in law enforcement or those who know can, chime in on this. The tower, you can be close to 2 towers and your cell phones and stuff ping off of more than one and not necessarily drop or pick up at an exact time. If I don't know if I'm making sense or not, but you can get caught between 2 pings and 2 towers, and your signal move about in a way that is not all the way accurate. So you know what I'm saying? So I would argue and do all of those things as the defense. And yes, they went to the same school, or they knew some of the same people. He was a criminology person. Maybe he was on drugs. They reportedly had drugs at the house. There were parties and things. All of those things can be factors. Now, mind you, if G and I went out somewhere and I was driving and she was in my car, so her DNA would be in my car, right? And then she was the passenger in my car. And then the next day or later on, I was a passenger and someone else was driving. So I could get G's DNA all on me and then transport it in. You see how this works?
Yeah. Yes. And remember in the probable cause affidavit, they said that on November 14th, Kohberger's phone appeared to have pinged in Moscow, Idaho, but they don't believe he was there. So that's a good example of that exact thing you were saying with the 2 towers.
So you've got to get the right experts who can refute, because remember, the burden is on the prosecution, not the defense. You just have to know what they're going to say and then just say the opposite. And right, the phone doesn't always ping off. You're right. It's the tower with the best reception.
Yes.
Trees and other things can, distort the pickup, the reception, and all of those things. So is it possible? How is it possible that a crime scene can be so horrific, so bloody, and then he not track anything out?
Right. Yes. Do you think the grand jury indicting him would indicate that the evidence they have against him is enough to be able to convince a jury that he's guilty?
So remember, in a grand jury, they're only hearing the prosecution. There is nothing to refute the evidence that they are hearing. So when you only hear one side of the story, then you have nothing to compare it to. So it does seem like a lot of evidence. It does seem very convincing. It does seem like it makes sense because there is no argument. The one thing about the trial is where you have the argument, where everyone gets to state their beliefs, their facts, and even though it's a grand jury, even though it's an indictment, it's like me only telling you my side of the story. It's like being in a marriage where only one spouse or one partner tells their truth and the other one remains silent. When you don't know what the truth is because you only heard one side of it. So you can't make a full observation, but based on what you heard, it sounds like the first person that you heard from, that everything that they say is the truth. That happens all the time in real life. It's just a part of who we are.
Yeah.
How we hear things. Perception is everything in a crime. And in a case.
Yeah. Let's take one more question. Otherwise, you could see we'll be here for hours. We'll be here all day with questions. One more question. Is the defense always allowed to point to other possible suspects? Okay.
Well, if the defense is not trying to find someone else, that is a problem. Yes. So the defense needs to say, now, I don't know whether they hired or whether they have a private investigator. But say if he was rich, they would have hired somebody else because they would be looking for alternatives other than him. So the defense needs to say, well, it could be, that's usually the argument of the defense. It was someone else. And if they have someone else that they can credibly claim, they might drop that name.
Okay. Thank you, Lorraine. We love your visit, Sunny. Yes.
Thank you, Lorraine. Love you. You guys know I love coming here.
Yes, we love it. I mean, I didn't expect it today. I'm like, yay, Sunny's here.
I was trying to get to you. Oh, and just so you all will know, so I have a feed for my Instagram that goes to my Twitter page. And on my Instagram, I have a rolling thing of posts that are already set, and then they post all the time because I've got to do something else to encourage people. So you see this, never let anyone poison your peace and then guilt trip you for being fed up.
I love it.
That's because people, thank you. There's people need some encouragement with all of this drama and stuff.
I find all your posts very encouraging. I'm like, yes. Just cheering on it.
I just kind of so I have something that comes on and I try to put quotes and things out in the atmosphere. So if you see those, it's not necessarily that I'm online. I just have them, they automatically load up.
So before we go, Twitter, they got to find you there at Sunny_Slaughter. Okay, go find Sunny there. YouTube, I am the Sunny Slaughter. Go subscribe over there. You make a lot of shorts as well.
Yeah, and I haven't put any up in a long time. I try to, y'all see, I'm going to get some guy shorts too. Who wants to make some shorts with me? Oh, gee, I'm going to do like you told me to and start doing some shorts.
Yes. Shorts are great. And as well, if you guys want to buy Sunny a coffee, it is buymeacoffee.com/Sunny Slaughter. You guys are always buying me coffees too. So make sure that Sunny has lots of coffee too, because trust me, she's a busy lady.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And look, I like a lot of cream with my coffee. So add a little flavor to the coffee.
Yeah. Yes.
But hopefully, did I get all the questions that people may have had?
Well, you'll never get all of them. We're going to be here for 8 hours if we do. So
I know.
How about you come back sometime, then we do a round 2 of this Kohberger stuff. And we've got so many cases to talk about, right?
I know. Gee, you're always covering them.
The last time you guys saw Sunny,
let's clap for G for always getting the stuff in.
Remember our documentary? Let me find it. Did you guys see the documentary style video I made on Alec Murdaugh? Sunny was a star. Sunny and John Kelly.
Gee, you are like the hottest thing out here. So I talk about the Grizzlies on everything that I do. I'm going to teach the FBI and wait, did you guys know that G did so I was in Florida because I'm a Florida Department of Law Enforcement instructor too, right? So I went down to Florida to teach a class, and G did an intro video for me for my class. They loved it. So I'm probably gonna have to get you to do another one when I'm
the FBI.
Yeah, I'm going to do a special 2-hour session for the FBI.
Awesome. I do love those greetings. I'm like, hello to the I remember Florida Police Department. My name is Grizzly. I love those.
At Jackson. So this one, so I don't know. They're just having the conference in Florida, the FBI. So I'm doing that, but then I have to teach a class. That's July. So I'm gonna have to get something for you for that, and something for you I have an actual class that I'm teaching in August. So I'll keep you posted. I love you guys. Thank you for always supporting me. Thank you for the amazing questions. And just thank you for showing up. Love you guys.
Final question. When is your birthday again? July, right? But which day?
July the 5th. Oh, okay. Did y'all see
55. That? You know I love number 5, right?
July the 5th. I'll be turning 55.
My word.
That is the triple 5s.
You guys know, they know it's my favorite number. For real. 555, you guys. There you go. July the 5th. So if you want to buy Sunny coffees on that day, well, any day, but especially that day.
I just realized that it's triple 5. I've been saying I'm going to roll the double nickels, but that's actually 5.
Triple.
5. Woo! Wait. And then it's 23. 2 + 3 = 5.
Whoa. This is your year. This is amazing.
And 24 divided by 5 is 20.
Damn. Okay. yes, yes. Eileen is like 555. You guys know we love it over here. Okay, and Pete's is July 9th. You like birthday buddies.
What? Okay. So okay, I said I'm gonna come. We're gonna have to hang. We're gonna have to hang out. No wonder. So the three of us are always chatting. Rochelle and Pete and I. Yeah, we're always. They're on my other pages too. My Facebook page, my private stuff. So we're always chatting. All right, I love you guys.
Okay, guys, so we'll see Sunny again soon, and you guys will see me again soon. As I was saying before, Sunny popped on, which I was so excited for. Tomorrow, we're going to talk to Gavin Fisher about the Ellen Greenberg case, okay? So make sure you don't miss it. The stream should lead you there. I really hope it will.
So you're talking about Ellen's case again?
Yes. Yesterday, I talked about it with a PI, and tomorrow with Gavin Fish, he's a YouTuber who's done really great work on the case with all the documents and everything. Yes.
I know. We have to talk about,
That case is terrible. Oh my word, what an injustice.
Somebody asked me about that case.
Yeah.
I was just reviewing some stuff on that.
Interesting.
Yeah. So I'm going to share that with you.
Okay.
Yes, we are best friends. I love you, Peter. Love you, Rochelle.
Are you sharing it now or behind the scenes? Are we
Uh,
saying goodbye or are we sharing it with the audience?
well, I'm gonna share it with you. Maybe you can share it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so guys, tune in tomorrow, and then if I can share what I learned, I will let you know. But tomorrow, I put the link in the chat there, so that you guys can join tomorrow. The stream should lead you there. Thank you so much, Sunny, for being here with us.
Thank you. I love you guys always.
Yes, and I will see you all very soon. You look great.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, bye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.